Okay. Hang on. 2 seconds. Okay. Good evening, everyone. And we say good evening because of the place on earth we are this evening. And welcome to virtual story time. And this is JD Time Network. We are coming to you live, and we have quite a few guests online. Our most important ones are our readers. And we have Samoya all the way from St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, and Jamoy. And they're going to be our readers this evening. They're reading a story that is called Hide and Seek. Okay. And we're going to introduce our guest in a little while. There are probably about 12 of us, but they're interesting individuals. We're excited to talk to them as well. So I want to ask Miss Nahila Lynch. Well, she's the mother of Samoya and the principal of our Morningside, to give us greetings, and then we go over to Miss Ortavia Manning Dixon. Okay.
Hey, boys and girls, welcome back another week to the Jamaica Diaspora Education Task Force and the Morningside Primary Virtual Reading Corner, right from our very living room. This evening, the story will be Hide and Seek. I'm sure all of us can relate, or most of us can relate to playing hide and seek. Will this story be just like the experiences that we had, or will it be something else? Stay tuned as Samoya Banton from Hampton High and Jamoy Peter from Monroe College will bring you story time.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Miss Lynch. Over to you, Miss Manning Dixon, and you will take us away with the introduction and introduce yourself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ortavia Manning Dixon, and I'm a classroom teacher, a fourth grade classroom teacher at a school in Los Angeles. I just want to shout out to all the fourth graders out there in Jamaica. We're a special population. I would like to start the introduction tonight with Mr. Axel. Axel, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Axel Chinchilla, and I'm from United States, and I'm from California, city of Los Angeles. I have friends and cousins and brothers, and they're part of my family. And one fun thing I love to do is write in a paper or read.
Okay.
You read it.
Thank you, Axel. Next, Ariana, would you introduce yourself?
Good night, everyone. My name is Ariana Jones. I am from Jamaica. My hobbies are surfing and I love playing. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ariana, you're breaking up a little bit, so just get it started out. We'll come back to you again.
Jacqueline Lopez.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline, and I'm from the United States, from the country of California and city of Los Angeles. and I am grateful for being here.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Jamoy, or we'll leave the readers for last.
Yes.
Madeline?
Hello, my name is Marilyn, and I am from the city of Los Angeles. What I like to do for fun is read and write books.
Thank you, Madeline. Antoine?
Hello, everyone. My name is Antoine Mitchell. I'm 10 years of age. I live in Kingston, Jamaica, and I pretty much love to do sports and hanging out outside.
And thank you, Antoine. Mikhail?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mikhail Moore. I live in Kingston, Jamaica. I attend the School of St. Richard's Primary, and one of my favorite things to do is watch a good movie.
Nice. Thank you, Mikhail. Khalil?
Hello, my name is Khalil Henry. I am 12 years of age. I attend George Henley Primary School. I'm from St. Catherine, Jamaica. And one of my favorite things to do is watch movies.
Thank you very much. Maria?
Hi, Maria. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and what I like to do for fun is write or draw.
Thank you. And I don't think, did we hear from Ariana? Yes, we did, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Jamoy, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, good night, everyone. My name is Jamoy Peter. I'm 14 years old, and I attend Monroe College in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. Some of my hobbies are reading, surfing the internet, and enjoying the outdoors.
And next, I would like to introduce Samoya. Samoya, am I saying your name right? I want to make sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. Samoya.
Okay, my name is Samoya Banton. I attend the Hampton School for Girls. Some of my favorite hobbies are reading books or reading anything and writing poetry.
Nice. Thank you, Samoya. And I forgot about this person right here. Introduce yourself. You gotta speak loudly though.
Okay. Hi, my name is Riley,
Anything else?
and I like to paint.
And what grade are you in?
TK.
All right. All right, and I hand it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. Guys, we have a very nice story coming up for you. It's hide and seek. And I'm just going to not talk a whole lot, hand over to our readers. And then this is what we want everyone to do, is to sit back, enjoy the story, and then we're going to talk about the story afterwards, okay? So just sit back, enjoy, and then we'll talk. All right, readers, are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, let me get the book up and start. Okay, here we go.
Ready?
Yep. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so today we'll be reading the story Hide and Seek by T. Albert. James, his sister Sally, and Mark, their BFF, or best friend forever, were bored. They had played all day, but now that it was dark and difficult to see, they had nothing to do. They couldn't play soccer because they couldn't see the ball. They didn't want to go inside and play a game. because it was a beautiful springtime night and they liked being outside, especially after having to play inside all winter long. They just didn't know what to do, and it was a little too early for them to go home.
I guess I'll just go home, Mark said in a sad voice. Oh, come on, replied James. We still have time for another game of something.
Then Sally said, I have an idea. Let's play hide and seek.
I was just going to say that, James said.
Yeah, I'll bet, replied his sister. You always say you were thinking of whatever I was thinking of, she snapped.
Do not,
James said in a loud
James
voice.
said in a loud voice.
Do too, yelled Sally. Mark just looked down at the ground and shook his head from side to side.
They are at it again, he mumbled to himself. Then he yelled, Okay, let's play hide and seek. I'll be the seeker.
He turned
He
around,
turned, faced a big tree,
closed his eyes,
and started counting out loud. 100, 99, 98, 97.
Sally and Mark stopped arguing, looked at each other, and ran off in different directions to find a hiding place. In the distance, they could still hear Mark counting.
4, 3, 2, 1. Ready or not, here I come.
Then he turned and began looking for places where they could be hiding. Finding Sally was easy. She always ran off and then circled back so she would be close to the base, the safe place to get before being tagged. Mark looked for the biggest tree and ran towards it. But she wasn't there.
I'll bet she's behind that big bush, he said to himself.
So he ran to it and was ready to tag her. But she wasn't there either. As he turned around, he saw James running towards the base and darted after him. Just before he touched James's shoulder, James tagged the base and yelled out,
Safe! Did you get Sally yet? James asked. No, said Mark. I haven't been able to find her, and it's getting late, and we need to be heading home. So both boys yelled out, Come on out, Sally! It's late. But there was no reply, not even a little snicker from somewhere in the darkness. They yelled again, Come on out, Sally! It's late. Still, there was no reply from Sally.
They began to worry and started searching for her. As they walked around the area, they called out,
Sally, come on. We give up. You're safe.
But no matter where they looked or how much they called out, Sally didn't answer. It was as if she disappeared. Sally was wondering what had happened. All she could remember was crawling under the big trunk of a fallen tree to hide. Now, as she looked up, she saw several stars through a small hole above her head. She had fallen into a hole when she crawled under the tree trunk. Help! She yelled, and heard her voice echo throughout what must have been a cave. Help! 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 Help!
Did you hear that, James? Mark said excitedly. Sally just yelled for help. Keep yelling, Sally, James screamed. That way we can find you.
Sally heard her brother and kept screaming. After a short while, the boys were standing next to the big tree trunk.
Hey, are you stuck under this tree? Asked James.
Kind of, Sally yelled. When I crawled under to hide, I fell into the cave. Please help me. I'm scared. It's dark and I can't get out.
Mark said, James, you stay with Sally and I will go get my dad. Then he dashed off into the darkness. Don't, James, I am right here with you.
No, you're not, Sally sobbed. You're up there and I'm down here. As Sally turned in the darkness of the cave, she bumped into something, screamed, and began to cry.
What's wrong? James yelled.
There's something down here with me, Sally replied in a shaky voice. Just then, Mark and his dad came running through the woods. Mark's father knelt down and asked Sally if she was okay. He could hear her crying and sobbing.
Sally, are you hurt? He asked.
No, she said, but I'm scared and there's something down here with me.
Stand back, Sally. I am lowering a rope and will be down with you in a second.
Mark's dad tied the rope to the tree, found the hole under the tree trunk, wiggled a bit, and lowered himself into the cave. Sally could see him coming down the rope and stopped crying. Not only was he there, but the cave became brighter from the beam of his flashlight as it danced across the cave's floor and walls. As he reached the floor of the cave, he shone the light on Sally and gave her a big hug.
Don't be frightened, he said. I'll have you out of here in no time.
Then he shone the light around and saw that she had fallen into a small cave. And very close to her, in the middle of the cave, was something wrapped in layers of old blankets.
Mark, James, there's something down here. I am going to tie it to the rope and I want you to pull it out. Okay, they replied.
The boys pulled out the object, untied it, and let the rope fall back into the cave. The cave wasn't deep, and Mark's dad boosted Sally over his head so she could crawl out. Then he grabbed the rope and with a little jump was able to grab the opening and pull himself out.
Let's go back to my house for a cup of hot tea. I'll call your parents so they aren't worried, and we'll see what treasure Sally found, he said.
When they got to Mark's house, they sipped their tea and began unwrapping their treasure. They carefully peeled off layers of old blankets and cloth to reveal a wooden box. They slowly opened it and stared in amazement. Oh my, Sally said in disbelief. I don't believe what I'm seeing. The boys and Mark's father just stared. Inside the box were jewels of every color you could imagine. There were diamonds and rubies, sapphires and emeralds of all shapes and sizes. Intermixed, they could see several gold coins and straps of pearls.
We're rich, the boy screamed. Not quite, interrupted Mark's father. Someone could have lost this, and I don't think you should plan on spending any of it until we find out a little more. Besides, Sally found it.
I'll share, Sally said happily.
That's nice, Sally, replied Mark's dad. But the right thing to do is contact the authorities.
The next day, the four of them and Sally's mother drove to the police station, explained what had happened, and gave the treasure to the police to hold while they conducted their investigation. They left the police station sadly, and even the double-dipped ice cream cones Mark's father bought for them didn't make them smile. They drove back in silence. Several weeks had passed with no word from the police. Then one evening, Mark's father called James, Sally, and their parents.
The police just called, and I think you should come over right now, he said. I'm afraid there is some bad news about the treasure. The police are on their way and will explain everything when you get here.
Sally and James didn't say much on the ride to Mark's house. Sally thought that since it was bad news, that the treasure belonged to someone else, even though they probably lost it. Whatever happened to finders keepers? She mumbled. What did you say, Sally? Her mother asked. Oh, nothing, Sally replied. Then she let out a long, sad sigh that echoed through the car. When they arrived at Mark's house, the police were there with the treasure box. As Sally entered, the captain introduced himself and said,
Sally, this is yours. The parents need to sign some papers, but the box and its contents are yours.
Sally, Mark, and James shrieked with joy and danced around the room. Then Sally said, What is the bad news? The captain smiled and said,
The treasure is worth more money than you can imagine, and with your newfound wealth comes great responsibility.
Sally didn't quite understand what the captain was talking about, and right now, it didn't really matter.
Mark asked, Are you going to share?
Of course, Sally said. If you and James didn't help me, I might still be there. Several days later, Sally asked everyone over to her house. I have decided what to do with the money from the treasure after it's sold, she said. I'm giving 1/6 to our mom and dad, 1/6 to Mark's mom and dad, 1/6 to Mark, 1/6 to James, and 1/6 for me.
There is an extra 1/6, Mark proudly stated.
He loved math and was right on top of Sally's calculations. No, there's not, said Sally.
Is 2, James said.
Is not, Sally said in an angered voice.
Just as Mark was going to say, they are at it again.
Sally said, This is why there isn't an extra 1/6. I'm giving it to the local charity so it can be given to those less fortunate and in need. Her mother and father said it was a caring and responsible thing to do. They were very proud of her and knew she had understood what the captain meant when he had turned over the treasure to her just days before.
And we've come to the end of our story. I hope you all have enjoyed. Boys and girls, I hope you all have enjoyed. At this time, we'll hand over to Dr. Dewey.
All right. Thank you, guys. Lovely story. Lovely, lovely. Miss Manning Dixon, you want to reflect with the students on this? It's a very good story. I love it.
Yes. Yes. I would like you to tell me what's your most memorable part and why. What's your most memorable part of the story and why?
I would like to answer.
And then Axel, yeah. Go on.
My most memorable part of the story is when Sally was down in the cave and she felt something beside her, saying that, and then she screamed out and started crying, and that suggested that she was even more scared, and it's even draws you closer to the story because you would like to know what's down there with her. So that's the most interesting part of the story for me.
I'd like to answer as well.
Okay.
So for me, my favorite part of the story, or the most memorable part for me, is when Sally was screaming out for help. Mainly because when we were practicing that part, I nearly lost my voice for that. And Mommy and Jamoy were laughing at me the entire time. So maybe that.
Okay.
My favorite part of the story was when the captain told Sally that with the money came great responsibility, because I wanted to see how she was going to use it.
Good. That's a good one. Axel, what do you think?
One more thing is that I think is that is good to help others when Sally Sally was sharing with others 1/6 and 1/6.
Oh, good. Yeah, the sharing part of it. And it's very accurate math that they used to share. And they realized that 1/6 was left over at the end. Yes.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
I read a story during my street visits last week to a group of students, and this was my question, and I was amazed at the answer. What lessons did you learn from this story? What were the lessons?
Okay, I'd like to answer. One is that sharing is caring. Another one is that it's good to help each other. And knowing that even though Sally was as small as she was, she knew how to divide the money to share with her friends.
Yeah.
One
Anyone else?
that I learned was that you have to be responsible with things like that you acquire.
Yeah. What about Khalil? Mr. Henry, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. The lesson that I learned is that you should always be kind to others because they can help you in the end. Like when Sally shared the money with charity and her friends with the 1/6, and they found out that there was 1/6 left over that she decided to give it to charity.
Yes, yes. Go on, Samoya.
I think one lesson that can truly be learned from the story overall, that honesty, because they didn't have to go to the police, they didn't have to bring the treasure to the police, they could have kept it, but they brought it in and they acknowledged that it wasn't theirs and they gave it in, and then after that they were given the treasure.
Yes, so honesty really wins in the end. What about Ariana? Ariana, what do you want to share about the story?
My favorite part was when they helped Sally in the trench because they discovered a treasure in there.
Yes. Yeah. Let us ask our young viewer, Miss Riley. What did you?
My favorite part.
A little louder.
My favorite part was when the police officer said that she could keep it.
Oh.
Why?
Because you never know. It might be yours, or maybe it might be someone else.
But they just tell you to keep it, so it's naturally it's yours afterwards, right? It's gonna be yours then. Thank you so much. Yes. Antoine. Yes, what did you get from the story? Because there are different pieces and lessons that you can learn. What did you get?
What I got from the lesson is that sharing is caring, and when you do unto others, they will do unto you. So, like if you will find a treasure, you go to the police station and tell the police officers that you found the treasure. They can say that, oh, they're so kind enough to find the treasure and give it to us. So we might have to give them back.
Yeah, good. Miss Lynch.
Okay, well, those are all valuable lessons, and they're lessons that we can use in our everyday lives. If we find something that doesn't belong to us, whether on the streets, at school, because they're students, so they'll be at school. And I know at times in our school, children will lose money. And I always say, if you find it and it's not yours, bring it to somebody who is more responsible. Because if you take that money and it's not yours, the person who lost the money will be doing without, while you will have double. So in everything that we're doing, I think we need to learn to practice honesty. As the children said it best, sharing is caring. And we need to learn to care about each other, because if Mark and James were selfish, and when they called Sally and they couldn't find her and they had just gone home, she would have been down there by herself. So even in our playing and in our daily interactions, we must really practice, and show love and care to each other.
Yeah, and what you said
Yeah.
with the whole, if you find money, you should bring it back. Because there's quite a few times at school that I have found money or somebody's purse, and I have either brought it to the dean or somebody in charge of something. And naturally, I believe that sometimes it has been returned a few times, because you send me to school with enough that I don't have to steal or,
Yeah, because if you take it and it's not yours,
it's wrong.
it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah. Madeline, do you agree? Do you agree? Or you want to share something from the story that you have learned? You can unmute yourself. We want to hear your voice, Madeline.
Excuse me, I'd like to say something.
All right, go on, talk, and then we get back to Madeline. Madeline, unmute yourself. Go on.
Okay,
Yes.
with the money situation, when a person loses their money, you don't know how that, when the person loses their money and you find it and take it, that person may be searching for his or her money, and you don't know what the person may be doing with, wanted to do with the money. So when they lose it, that person wouldn't get to do what they should do with the money. Maybe it's an important thing that they should do with it, and when they lose it now and you find it, that person doesn't get to do what he or she should be doing with it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Amoy. Madeline, over to you again.
Well, I agree that we should practice honesty, because if we find something that we don't know who it is, for example, in school, we can we can tell the principal who it is, and the principal will find out who it belongs to.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, what is interesting is that you guys are from California or in Jamaica, and it's the same, basically, it's a thin line that runs right through the lessons. It's the same right across the board, that honesty prevails, and that you should bring to a higher authority. When it doesn't, something like finding something that doesn't really belong to you. What do you say, Miss Dixon?
I have a quick question for them though.
Yeah, hold on, let me get Miss Dixon's sharing, and then you go to your question.
I agree. And that's one of the things we have spoken about before in my class, just knowing that, we all have the same experiences. We just have it in different ways. And that's why it's important to see everyone as, even though we're different, we're pretty much the same, because we do experience similar things. We might just talk different or live in a different way, a different place or something of that sort. So.
Yeah, interesting. Yes. Miss Lynch, yes.
Now, last week we had an interesting discussion. Would you have shared that money equally? If you were Sally, would you have shared that money equally?
Maybe we should ask Jacqueline. Jacqueline, would you have shared that money equally if you had found it down there? Unmute, yes.
If I find a treasure like Sally did, I would share it, because basically it's not mine. So instead of keeping it, share it to the world so those less fortunate can have what they need most.
Mostly. Yes, yes. All right. Miss Lynch,
Jamal,
yeah.
Jamal,
Jamal is thinking, oh no, I probably take
would you
2/3.
have shared that treasure equally?
I think I'd have taken a little more for myself than share it differently among them.
Lamoya, what do you say? Would you have shared it equally?
Would I have shared? Yes, equally.
First and foremost, would I have shared? That's what she comes up with.
If I found it, it's mine.
I would have. Yeah, I think I would have shared it. I mean,
I would share it, but not equally.
we had that
Not
discussion last
equally.
week. Would you have? So we got back
I
down
would
to
probably
the
give a lot to charity.
yeah.
I wouldn't
Exactly.
share it.
Sally,
I wouldn't share it as much because I wouldn't really give the children because they don't really know what to do with it. I would just give it to the parents.
Oh yeah, that's a more responsible way of looking at it. You know? So what I'm thinking here is a battle between our personal values and
Yeah.
what is right for everybody. So
What is
part of us thinking, yeah, everybody said they would share it. So let me say I will share it too. But deep down, there is this thinking that no, I don't think I would give equally. So
equally.
there's
Yes.
it's one is overall you would give it to authority and you'll be like this wonderful person, but deep down inside of you're thinking, what am I making the right decision here based on me?
Yes.
So yeah, it depends, it depends. But it's always right to make sure that others are benefiting from what we have. Even in this case, it doesn't belong to anybody.
It doesn't.
And yeah, who to tell where it's from?
Messages, everybody would I think what we learned, everybody would have shared, but they would have taken a little bit more for themselves.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so it's I guess we learned, or the reading spoke to the character of Sally, or the value, the high value that she valued her friends, that she would share it equally, because he said if they didn't find her, then she would still be there. So based on the fact that they found her, she saw it within herself to share it equally.
Yeah. So it point, and I want some of us to respond to this. You think, you look back at our families and what you learn from your families, all of us as children. When you're sitting at table, especially now that it's evening somewhere in the world, and you sit after dinner, you talk about these things. You talk about what is right, what is wrong, what is good for us as a family, what is not good for us. And then I'm sure your families talk to you about the family name, like what you believe in. And when you walk on the street or you go to school, you must not do certain things because you represent the family. You represent them. Do you guys get that from your families?
Don't give me that eye, Samoya. Do not give me that eye.
Yeah. I want you guys to talk. Who wants to share what you have learned from your family? Antoine, let's hear from you, sir.
I didn't really have learned much.
You haven't learned those values from your family? They tell you, Antoine, when you go out there, please behave like a gentleman because you represent us. You are of us. Yes?
They would have said that because I normally behave proper.
Oh, good job, good job. So they don't really have to say anything to you. You're proper already. You're like, I'm going on the street, I'm going to the mall, I'm going downtown. I'm just gonna be me. And me is upholding all the rules of society. So that's good. That's, Jamal, I see you smiling over there. Do you ever had any conversation like that with your family?
Yeah, there's a saying in Jamaica that anyhow you dance you dance abroad, saying that anyhow.
Boy, you're old enough.
Saying that anyhow you behave at home, you like go out and do the same thing. But for me, it doesn't work that way. Like I behave a certain way at home. I don't usually go out and do the same thing. I like my personality like changes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I understand. So you might behave a little bit crazy at home, but when you go out,
Yeah.
you behave properly because yeah, it's more
Yeah.
formal there. Yes, that's good.
Might behaving like he has a choice.
Yeah. Miss Dixon,
Do I behave
yes,
nice?
weigh in on this.
Am I a good behaving child?
You are.
I
You
don't
are,
behave.
you're. Go ahead, Miss Dixon.
My kids are known as mini Mannings, and I always tell them, you know what? I don't care. You're my kids too. So when you leave this room, you belong to me. You make sure that you think, oh, what would Miss Manning do before I do anything else, right? Jackie's nodding her head over there. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I see it, right. Jackie saying, yes, it's true.
Yes, you have to represent to the highest when you
Yeah.
leave that room because you're always a mini Manning, right? Always a mini Manning. And I agree with Jamoy. Time and place is very important. You know, what you do at home, you can't do abroad. You know, you have to make sure if you would get up and walk and jump around when you're in a formal setting, you're not going to do that, right? Yes. So I
That's true.
absolutely agree. Yes.
Okay. All right, everyone, we're going to close off here for this evening. We really appreciate our readers. Thank you so much. And the comments online, they're very good. That you guys are you're very learned. So your expressiveness and the way that you speak also tells that you're from good homes. That's some of the comments that are online. That's very good. It's very good. We want you guys to know that we have the viewers, we have virtual reading every Tuesday at 7:30 Jamaican time or 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And Miss Manning will say, well, we're Pacific, so it's probably about 5:30 Pacific. Yes, Pacific time. Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in us. And we will see you back here next week, okay, with another interesting story and a whole lot of people to talk about the story afterwards. Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.